presence right away. At first, our interests were surface level, and we mostly talked about our favorite books and movies with each other. But the more I got to know her, the more time I wanted to spend around her, and the deeper our friendship grew. Alyssa has a passion for the small things and loves to tell stories. No detail is too small. Her non-judgmental attitude and genuine pure joy surrounding life as a whole was something that I had only ever seen in her. Over time, she showed me the importance of authenticity, not only in FFA, but in life as a whole. As my friend, I've seen how she reaches out in her many roles and connects with people, changing their lives without even thinking about it. If you're ever in a conversation with her, she'll always make sure that you're heard, even if it's only a small story you wanted to share. If ever someone told me that Alyssa wasn't intent when they were speaking, or didn't care about their little life stories, I would insist that we find out who kidnapped the real Alyssa VanBlaricum. Additionally, it has amazed me how much she loves agriculture and FFA for nothing other than exactly what it is. If agriculture was a piece of dirt with a plant in the middle, she would still love it because that's how pure and unfaltering her passion is for the industry that we advocate so greatly for. From years watching her grow as a person, become more confident in herself, and caring for other people so deeply, I've learned one thing. Alyssa is the best state vice president, coach, classmate, teammate, and friend anyone could ever ask for, and I doubt that a better person could have been appointed to be Area 2 State Vice President.
Hi, I'm Bailey, and one thing you might not know about Alyssa is that she is deathly afraid of salsas. And while this sounds very crazy, it's the reason we're friends today. I remember it like yesterday. We were in primary school and it was lunchtime, the best time of the day. And after a series of unfortunate events, Alyssa throws up on me, all because she got mayonnaise on her finger. Ever since then, we've been inseparable. We've been through so much together, and every day she reminds me why I chose her to be my best friend. She is the most kind-hearted person I know, and will put anyone before herself. She is the smartest person I know and will go out of her way to help anyone. But most importantly, every day she shows me why I chose her to be my best friend. She is my ride or die, literally. Don't ride with Alyssa, you might die. Even though I don't say this enough, I am so proud of you and I love you, Alyssa. And I can't wait to see where you go in life.
As soon as my sister was born, I knew that she was someone special. I remember looking at her for the first time, and I knew immediately that I would love her for the rest of my life. I was about 9 around then, and with an age gap like the one that we had, you'd think that we wouldn't be that close. But despite the number of years that are between us, she's my closest friend. She's loyal, she's sweet, and she's kind. She's the funniest person I've ever met. She always makes me laugh, even in situations where both of us probably shouldn't. And she always knows what to say to turn a bad day into a great one that's memorable for all the right reasons. And I swear that we're unstoppable at every game we play together, because the years that we've spent together have taught us our own secret language. Even more than that, though, she's unbelievably passionate, and she loves, more than anything else, to share and ignite those same passions in others. Before she joined FFA, I didn't really know much about it. It was just another club that was at my high school. But I can't think of anyone who could have made me love FFA as much as she has done. There's no one else who could make me get excited to sit outside of a restaurant and identify every single plant that restaurant has to offer. She's the perfect sister. She's my biggest confidant, and she's the best friend that anyone could ever dream of having. She's truly the best person I know, and I'm so honored to have her as my sister, and to get to introduce this amazing person to all of you today. So Louisiana FFA, your state vice president representing Area 2, Alyssa VanBlaricum. Thank you.
Do y'all have a habit that just always seems to get you into trouble? Well, my worst habit of all time is zoning out. This makes me incredibly bad at finding things, no matter how big or eye-catching they are. I swear, sometimes I set my keys. This huge mass of cat lasers and anime key charms on the kitchen counter, and it will somehow disappear for weeks. Well, just recently, I began looking for my family's old photo album, and it was nowhere to be found. It wasn't in our little recipe drawer, our Christmas storage closet, or even the bookshelf nook where we always keep it. This photo album was a huge part of my family, and I loved going through it. I mean, I can vividly remember wiping the Cheeto dust off my fingers and flipping through its love-filled pages. I took so much joy in seeing who was important and special to my parents at the time. I can't put into words how much losing this affected me. So I've decided to start my own scrapbook, filled to the brim with the people that I call family. Now, I know I mentioned my awful zoning out habit earlier, but I don't think you'll understand how bad it really is. I swear, I could be in the middle of conversation, eating dinner, or just doing my schoolwork, and my mind will just wander, body going completely on autopilot. It makes for some pretty funny pictures, and even weirder moments, but I usually can't tell when it's happening until after the fact. Well, a few months ago, my mom and I were sitting on the couch, stomachs growling up a storm, and our appetites craved popcorn chicken from Sonic. Oh my gosh, I can practically taste it now. So I offered to get us some. I got my mom's card, I walked up to my car, and I pulled out of the driveway following the exact same path I did every single day. My body was on autopilot again as my thoughts wandered to thoughts of that mouth-watering chicken. Oh my gosh, I could practically taste the crunch of that warm center. And then I heard the mechanical screeching of metal on metal. Oh my gosh, what was I gonna do? My mom, who was usually parked safely in the garage, was now parked right next to me, and I just crashed her brand new car and scratched my car. I can vividly remember walking back into my house, hands shaking up a storm and voice wobbling as I told my mom I just ruined her brand new car. I've never felt such intense guilt or shame in my entire life. Now, we had to take my car to the shop first, which was to be expected, but that means I couldn't drive to and from school every day. My mom had to take me. Now, the thing with that is, I didn't want my friends to know the mistake I'd made. I didn't want them to laugh at me or make rude jokes or rub salt in the wound, so I kept it from them. But they weren't oblivious. They noticed that my mom was taking me to school and my parking lot was suspiciously empty. So they asked questions, and I would just dodge and dodge and dodge until they got the point. For an entire week, I distanced myself, dramatically fueling my own misery. I couldn't keep it from them for too long, though. When I finally told the three people closest to me, they each reacted in ways I could have never prepared myself for. Bailey eased the tension with a lighthearted joke, letting me know that she viewed me the exact same way. Parker told me about a time that he'd messed up on the road, showing me that we all make mistakes and confirming the intense feelings I'd now developed over driving. And Addison showed up at my house with a bag of my favorite candies, a bouquet of flowers, and a promise to take me to school every day when my car was getting fixed, turning this awful experience into something just a little bit less awful. I was so scared to tell my family, my friends, of what I'd done. I thought they would judge me, or hate me, or make fun of me. I kept it from them because I didn't want to feel worse. But not telling them was so much worse than telling them ever could have been. They were my support system, and at that time, I desperately needed all the support I could get. Addison, Bailey, and Parker are three people in my life that would get their own special page dedicated to them in my scrapbook. It is because of their unrelenting support that I learned the value of letting the people you love in. But one movie in particular reminds me of how important a single life is to us. Now, every single year around the holidays, my mom and I rewatch It's a Wonderful Life as if we've never seen it before. We laugh at all the cheesy jokes, say aw and look at each other whenever a sweet scene comes on, and of course, cry our eyes out at the end. Now, if you've never seen this Esther movie, it follows a man named George Bailey, and we quickly learn two things about him. The first is that he is selfless and caring to the bone, and the next is he has big dreams. He longs to be happy and successful and important. He wants to travel the world, making great feats of architecture that will change people's lives. When George was just a boy, his friends and brothers all went sledding, and in a series of unfortunate events, his brother fell into an icy lake. George jumped in to save him, becoming deaf in his left ear. When George used to work at the pharmacy, his boss, in a fit of confusion and grief, almost gave a young boy the wrong drug. George put himself in a position to get fired just so his boss wouldn't get in trouble and the young boy wouldn't pass away. Acts like this continue to happen throughout the entire film. We see him take over the family business he hates so his brother can go to college and his family business won't go in the sinker. We see him marry and fall in love with a girl who wants to stay in their small town, giving up his dreams of traveling forever. And we even see him give all of his honeymoon money up to the people that he cared about so that they won't go homeless. Every single action in George's life was dedicated to helping others, putting his own dreams and wants aside. And then George fell into money trouble. Bad money trouble. So bad that if he didn't have this large sum of money to the cops by the end of the day, he would go to jail. He looked back at all the things he'd done in his life and he saw nothing. He was still in his measly old town, he was doing a job he hated, he had to travel the world, he wasn't an architect, and as the final nail in the coffin, he was going to jail. That night, he lashed out at his family and wondered why he should even be alive. And then, through movie magic and other plot points I really don't have the time to get into right now, George saw what that life he so desperately wished for would look like. George saw what a life without George Bailey would truly be. He roamed the town he called home and saw that his wife was utterly alone. His brother had passed away at the age of 9. His family business was in the sinker. His old boss was a social outcast for giving a young boy the wrong drug. And so many of his friends and family and the people he cared about most were homeless. It didn't take him long for him to want to go back. He didn't care if he was going to jail. He just wanted to be home. When he walked back into the house that night, he was crying but happy. He hugged his wife and kids, and he was just joyous to know that they were happy and living their best life. He was going to jail, but he didn't care. And then, like a miracle and a storm of elephants, hundreds of people from his town came flooding into his house, hands filled with cups and bags and purses of anything they could, filled with money. What was this miracle? Why were all these people here for George? Who could have told them? Why did they care that much about him? And then amongst the chaos, his brother came in, grinning ear to ear, and said, "Don't worry about the money, George. All I had to say was George's in trouble, and everyone couldn't wait to help you out." The people in our lives are so important. We cannot comprehend the intense impact they have had on us, and we have had on them. My sister Allie is someone a part of my family, and I would not be who I am today without her. My sister Allie and I have always played video games together. Now, of course, when I was younger, my idea of playing video games with her was really just me sitting on the couch, watching in awe, hands completely free of a controller as she destroyed zombie after zombie. As we got older, though, this turned into something just a little bit more special. Not only was I actually able to contribute to the game now, but it was our time to bond over something we both had in common. Without saying it out loud, we both knew we just wanted that excuse to hang out with each other. And a few months ago, I was studying schoolwork. Every class unit had tests, my chapter was planning this huge activity, and everything just seemed to pile on my workload. I was tired, beyond tired. And though this might not be the best habit, when I get really overwhelmed, the world narrows down to just me. I would walk straight past my mom and my sister and go straight to my room just so I could decompress. I longed for that time alone more than anything. And so when my sister came into my room and asked if I wanted to play her favorite video game with her, I said no. Why would she ask me that? Doesn't she know I'm tired? Doesn't she understand that I'm frustrated and just had a long day? Why would she put me in the position to reject her just so I could play some game? Over the next few days, she still came into my room, and every single day I would give her that same head shake. I just kept getting more and more mad, letting the anger brew in my stomach. It didn't take me long for me to snap, and with a less than kind voice, I told her that I didn't want to play her stupid game. There have been times in my life where I've realized I was completely in the wrong. Times in my life where the anger in my stomach turns into self-disappointment and hatred and hurt. Watching my sister's face fall as my words reached her was one of those moments. I don't think I will ever forget how upset she sounded when she said, "Well, do you want to just hang out with me? We could watch a show or maybe just talk or something." All this time, I'd been so focused on what I was feeling. I was angry and frustrated. Nothing could get through that cloud of negativity. But my sister didn't know that. I didn't tell her. I was just being mean to her. In her eyes, I just didn't want to hang out with her. In her eyes, I was simply mad at her for reaching out. I made a vow with myself that night. Now, when I'm upset or frustrated or just angry beyond anything, I try and let the people I know that I am not mad at them. Whether that be giving my mom a surprise hug, sending my best friend Bailey a little goodnight text, or going into my sister's room late at night to perform very poor renditions of Hamilton songs, I try and let my family know that I love them. Oftentimes, we take what we have for granted, but we need to appreciate the people who are in our lives. I appreciate my sister Allie, who I can be my authentic self with. I appreciate my mom, who shows me kindness and unrelenting support. I appreciate my dad, an anchor in my life I wouldn't know what to do without. I appreciate Bailey Leonard for staying with me through thick and thin, Jasmine Jones for all of our ranking sessions, and Addison Jacobson for every single late night Sonic drive. I appreciate my advisor for never giving up on me, and Parker for the journey we went on together. I appreciate Autumn and Nana and Grandma for always watching over me, and I appreciate every single FFA member I've met in my time of service this year. And I appreciate my state team for all the memories we've made together and will make together on FFA Lane. You see, I loved going through my family's old photo album because I got to see who my parents thought were important. My mom and dad had to go all the way to Walmart, sit in those uncomfy stools, just so they could preserve the people they cared about most. The people we put in our scrapbook are the people who are most important to us. Even if we never make a scrapbook, even if we've never had one, we still know who and what would go in it. We know who we would write little hearts and notes by their name. We know who would have their own chapter or page dedicated to them. And we know who we would want to show our future friends and kids and grandkids. We need to appreciate these people. Now, I've been talking about the people in my life for about 10-ish minutes now, probably more, but who is in your life? Who do you find important? Right now, let's all take out our phones and think. Someone has my phone. But let's think of our Allie. Let's send a text to someone that we need to appreciate. Sorry, guys. Let's send a text message to them right now, whether that be telling them we love them, telling them thank you for always helping out with their homework, telling your mom thank you for forgiving you for never putting up the clothes on the dining room table. Whatever you need to tell them, send it to them right now. The people in our lives are more important to us than we can comprehend. We need to make sure we let them in. We need to know their importance. And we need to appreciate them. Louisiana FFA, always remember to love the people you make scrapbooks for.
Let it go.